Hello, and welcome to the Office of the Patriot, where I try to make sense out of the nonsense of the progressive left and RINO right. My name is Myron Ybarra, and I'm your host. How many of you are, sick and tired of being lied to by politicians, or, in fact, anybody in the government bureaucracy? I ask this because in one of my previous episodes, I made mention of this trait among politicians and proposed that our legislative body, the Senate and the House, draft a law that prohibits politicians and bureaucrats from knowingly relaying or crafting falsehoods to the American people in the performance of their duties. I bring this up because as of late, we have seen a neck-snapping 180-degree turn from the Harris campaign as it relates to her domestic and foreign policy positions. Then versus now. And in today's episode of Office of the Patriot, I will be highlighting some of these changes, thus bringing some light to the dark lies of the Harris campaign. Before we get into where Comrade Kamala's ideological positions were before she got into politics at the federal level, we should go back to where it all started. And it started with how she was raised. As I'm sure many of you know, Kamala's father, Donald Harris, is a Marxist, which is just a softer way of saying a communist. And you can see, or rather hear, some of her father's sayings parroted by Comrade Kamala. Many communist leaders have had similar sayings, or at least similar ideology rolled into this type of saying. The saying is, what can be unburdened by what has been. Here, I'll let her tell you.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
What can be unburdened by what has been.
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 Yeah, I know it sounds like word salad, like she's infamously famous for. In fact, many legacy media pundits chalked it up as much. But that is far from the truth. In a nutshell, Kamala is talking about doing away with the current system of government that we have in place right now in the United States, being unburdened by what has been. No more constitutional republic. Hello, communism, which will be born of the democratic process. Yes, you better believe it. Democrats will vote for this, much like chickens campaigning for KFC because the bucket is pretty. And obviously, this is supported by the Democrat deep state. So let's get into this and take a look at some of Comrade Kamala's positions pre-presidential campaign. Prior to being appointed as a Democrat presidential candidate for the 2024 presidential race, Comrade Kamala tried to ride two donkeys with one ass. At one point, Kamala loosely associated with Biden's position in Israel and Israel's right to defend itself. However, she then said this.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. The images of dead children and desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety, sometimes displaced for the second, third, or fourth time. We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
Here, she's essentially laying blame for the Israel-Palestine war that was initiated by Hamas on Israel to gain favor of the pro-Palestinian leftists that she's courting for their fealty and their vote. I spoke to this in the last couple of episodes of Office of the Patriot. Next, the border, or the lack thereof. I'm sure all of you will remember this.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
That's right. Comrade Kamala didn't feel it was necessary after being appointed the border czar. And yes, she was appointed by Bumbling Joe as the border czar, despite her claiming otherwise. As a matter of fact, I believe she bore that title with pride, at least for a little while, but now realizes that it's actually a label that mocks her job on the border. Comrade Kamala was officially tasked by Biden in March of 2021 to, and I'll quote, lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle in stemming the movement of migration to our southern border. And everyone knows that she has been a massive failure at this job. Illegal arrests, illegal immigration encounters, and contacts with individuals on the terrorist watch list have increased under her watch. And as always, receipts for the statistics I'm sharing with you today are available in the description section below. But now, Comrade Kamala is claiming that she has been a strong advocate for border security and even touted her work as a criminal prosecutor for the state as evidence to her claim. I call bullshit. And so does Nation News.
Kamala Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border.
In an effort to shore up her border security chops, VP Kamala Harris launching this new campaign ad highlighting her background as a prosecutor. The ad depicts the Democratic candidate as being tough on drug cartels and smuggling across the border, and that she's capable of, quote, fixing the border. News Nation correspondent Jorge Ventura has been analyzing the claims made in this new ad, and he joins us now with what he found out. Jorge.
But Natasha, this new border ad for Kamala Harris focusing heavily on border security, an issue that continues to be a political vulnerability for both the Biden and Harris administration. Also, an issue that will be the back of voters' minds heading into November. We did fact check this new border ad. The ad does imply that Harris was on the front lines of the border crisis, when in reality, as a California Attorney General from 2011 to 2017, she mainly dealt with state-level criminal justice. For example, her Back on Track program aimed at reducing repeat offenses through education, not tackling border cartels. So this claim is stretching the truth a bit. News Nation is fact-checking this claim as misleading. That also implies that Harris went after gang members for cross-border smuggling. While she did prosecute gang members in the state of California, these cases were mostly local, not involving international smuggling. For example, back in 2015, her office took on the Nuestra family gang for drug trafficking within California, not across the border. News Nation is fact-checking this claim as false, given she didn't prosecute criminals across the border.
Hell, Comrade Kamala couldn't even get the support of law enforcement when she was working as a prosecutor. Now, I can tell you, as a former law enforcement agent, working with a pro-law enforcement prosecutor made the difference between having a viable case that you could win in court and watching your case get flushed down the toilet. And finally, energy. Comrade Kamala has been the queen of the Green New Deal pre-campaign. She lambasted oil companies and fracking, but today it is a different story. Today, not only is she okay with fracking, but it appears she also wants to remove the EV mandate she proposed as part of the Green New Deal.
After plagiarizing Build the Wall and no tax on tips, is Kamala going to drill, baby, drill? Maybe she is, because her campaign is saying she doesn't support an EV mandate anymore. Kamala Harris didn't say that. The Kamala Harris campaign said that, even though Kamala Harris co-sponsored a bill mandating that all cars go electric by 2040. If Trump's so unpopular, why is Harris stealing his policies? Kamala Harris is campaigning on Trump is right about everything and I'm wrong. At this point, Kamala should just debate herself. Watch this new ad.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
Suffice to say, Comrade Kamala has a lot of explaining to do, and not to Dana bash a poo-butt CNN hack while being handheld by her pasty VP pick Waltz. She needs to answer to the American people. Unfortunately, she doesn't seem to want to take any interviews or answer any questions that are directly related to her work as the current vice president. Take a look.
Actress Kamala Harris pretending to take important phone calls so she doesn't have to answer important questions from reporters. Madam Vice President, do you still support reparations? Sorry, I'm on a call. How do we know no one was on the other end of the line? Well, when your earbuds are in, you don't have to hold the phone to your ear. This phony campaign looks the same no matter who's on the ticket. Here's Tim Walz.
Great state fair. Glad to have you all out here enjoying every bit of it, and started the day with pork chop and vanilla shake. So it's great. Every night we go through all of the decision memos and meeting with the commissioners. I stay updated throughout the day, and I'm in and out. Most of my time is day out and then back in.
Governor, how are you feeling? What's your reaction to the 6 hostages being found dead in Gaza?
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Dead American hostages? Guys, I got a milkshake. It's going to melt.
So, it appears the only way the American people are going to find out what Comrade Kamala's plan is, if she manages to steal her way into the office of the president, is by debating Donald Trump. It's my hope that the debate will reveal to her slack-jawed base the two-bit, two-faced liar that she actually is. At that point, we can only hope that the truth will finally set these people free. And this concludes today's presentation of Office of the Patriot. If you enjoyed the content, please, please, please like, subscribe, and share my channel on your social media. It is appreciated. Further, please take the time to comment. Social media platforms like YouTube and Rumble use comments as a metric for assessing viewer engagement. The more people that like, subscribe, share, and comment, the more the Office of the Patriot channel will come up when social and political content like this is searched for. And as always, have a blessed day and stay safe out there.